picture this. 2 fighter jets screaming through the sky over the Red Sea.
Sounds intense.
It is, but it gets worse.
Oh.
They get blasted out of the sky.
Oh, wow. Mid-flight. What happened? Mechanical failure?
Not quite. They're shot down.
By enemy fire?
Yep.
What? Okay, now I'm really curious.
Friendly fire. From their own side.
You're kidding. That's scary.
It's a story that's hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
We're talking about 2 U.S. Navy A-18 fighter jets, the top of the line.
Yeah, state of the art.
Brought down by, get this, the USS Gettysburg, a guided missile cruiser.
Geez, one of our own. How's that even possible?
That's the question that's got everyone scratching their heads.
And the pilots.
Thankfully, both ejected safely.
Phew. That's a relief. At least there's that.
One had minor injuries, but they're alive, which is a testament to their training, under pressure like that.
Absolutely. Incredible composure in the face of, well, what must have been pure chaos.
Exactly. But it still begs the question, how could this happen in the first place? That's what we're diving deep into today, this whole friendly fire incident. We're going to look at what it means and what it tells us about the situation in the region, which, let's face it, is pretty tense right now.
Yeah, no kidding. We're talking about a conflict zone where things can change in a heartbeat.
With me today is an expert who's going to help us break down just how complicated all of this is.
Well, let's be honest. Anytime you have a situation like this with such advanced technology involved and then something like this happens.
It makes you wonder, right?
Yeah. It really drives home the point that even with all the safeguards, all the fancy radar and communication systems.
The fog of war is real.
Absolutely. It's a stark reminder that mistakes, tragic mistakes, can happen, even with the most sophisticated military in the world.
These A-18s, they weren't just flying blind.
No, they were part of a network connected to the USS Gettysburg through systems that are designed to prevent exactly this kind of scenario.
Multiple layers of checks and balances, you'd think that would be enough?
You would, wouldn't you? But somewhere, somehow, the system broke down.
And that's what investigators are trying to figure out.
Absolutely. Was it human error? Did someone misread the data? Panic in the heat of the moment? Did a critical communication fail? Or was it a technical malfunction? A software glitch? Some kind of electronic interference?
It's like a giant puzzle, and every piece matters.
Because the answers have huge implications, not just for understanding what happened here, but for how we think about and mitigate risks in modern warfare.
And this wasn't an isolated incident.
Right, it didn't happen in a vacuum.
There's a whole lot of tension bubbling under the surface in that region. We're talking about the Yemeni Houthis.
Ah, yes. For folks who aren't familiar, the Houthis are a rebel group that have been causing a lot of trouble. They've controlled Yemen's capital, Sana'a, since way back in 2014.
And they've been getting bolder, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. In the lead up to this friendly fire incident, there were several encounters between U.S. forces and the Houthis.
The U.S. intercepted drones.
Multiple drones, yes. And even an anti-ship cruise missile.
Aimed right at them.
It's a concerning escalation. The Houthis are proving they can disrupt the region. They're even targeting international shipping.
Which raises the stakes for everyone involved.
Absolutely. It's a powder keg. And then this friendly fire incident throws another match on it.
So what's the U.S. response? Airstrikes.
Immediate retaliation, targeting Houthi-controlled areas.
Including a missile depot and a command center.
Significant targets, meant to send a message.
But is that the right message? Is this just going to make things worse?
That's the debate. The U.S. says these strikes are necessary to deter the Houthis, protect their interests, but critics worry about escalation. This tit-for-tat could spiral out of control.
It's a tough call. And then there's the USS Harry S. Truman Carrier Strike Group.
Ah, yes, deployed to the region.
That's a pretty big flex, isn't it? Whole Carrier Strike Group.
Oh, absolutely. It's a powerful statement. We're talking about a mobile airbase, destroyers, cruisers, submarines. The full package, a symbol of U.S. power.
But also, potentially a provocation.
It could be seen that way, yeah. It depends who you ask. It definitely adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation.
And it's not just the Red Sea we need to worry about. This whole thing is spilling over.
Right. It's not contained.
A Houthi missile hit Tel Aviv.
16 people injured.
It's a reminder that what happens in Yemen doesn't stay in Yemen.
Exactly. The consequences, they ripple outwards, impacting global security. And amidst all the military posturing, it's easy to forget.
The human cost.
Millions of Yemenis suffering, famine, displacement, a complete breakdown of basic services.
It's a humanitarian crisis. So where does that leave us? What's the takeaway from all of this?
Well, this friendly fire incident, as tragic as it is, I think it offers a valuable lesson.
A hard lesson.
Yeah, but an important one. It shows us the limits of technology, even the most advanced kind.
And the human factor.
Always the human factor. Decisions made under pressure, the fog of war. It can lead to devastating consequences.
Even when everyone has the best intentions.
It also forces us to really examine the complexity of modern warfare, when friend and foe can be so hard to distinguish.
Makes you think.
Yeah.
So moving forward, what are the big questions we need to be asking?
I think we need to look at how this will impact future military operations.
Specifically.
The rules of engagement. How do we prevent this from happening again? Do we need even more advanced identification tech? And then there's the larger question of U.S. foreign policy in the region.
Will this lead to a more cautious approach? Or double down on intervention?
These are tough questions. No easy answers. But they're questions we have to grapple with if we want to learn from this tragedy.
A lot to consider. And for everyone listening, I urge you to keep digging into this conflict. Learn about all sides. And don't forget the human cost. This is a war that deserves our attention, our understanding. Not just for geopolitical reasons, but for the sake of the people caught in the middle.
I couldn't agree more. It's a complex situation, but one that we can't afford to ignore.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back next week with another look at a different topic. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep asking those tough questions.
See you next time.